On Authentic Ag, we return to Russell and talk more about the possibilities of hemp coming to Kansas. Mechanized Concept Kansas, also more the role the state of Kansas played in landing the company. We also have features from Kansas Wheat and the Kansas Livestock Association, Paragon Ag Advisors. I'm Ken Rahjes. This is Authentic Ag.
Brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, KFB.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on three main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
In agricultural news from agview.net, the Environmental Protection Agency has published the final rule repealing the Waters of the U.S. rule. The EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers efforts to repeal and return the law to provisions in place prior to 2015. Now, this new rule will go into effect on December 23rd of this year, but legal challenges expected from environmental groups. First announced in September, the American Farm Bureau Federation at the time called the rule a victory for farmers and ranchers. The EPA attributed the repeal to four factors. First, the agency says the 2015 rule did not implement the legal limits on the scope of the agency's authority under the Clean Water Act as intended by Congress. EPA also says the Obama-era rulemaking failed to adequately consider states' rights. The repeal, an effort by EPA to avoid the interpretations of the Clean Water Act that pushed the envelope of their constitutional and statutory authority. Lastly, the EPA and the Army Corps conclude that the 2015 rules of distance-based limitations suffered from certain procedural errors and a lack of adequate record support. Well, new legislation in the U.S. Senate would support rural health care providers to deliver high-quality care. Introduced by Kansas Senator Pat Roberts and Nevada's Catherine Cortez Masto, the Rural ACO Improvement Act would fix a glitch in the program, according to those lawmakers. The legislation would change the Accountable Care Organizations, or ACO, reimbursement formula, which inadvertently punishes rural health care providers when they reduce costs. That bill would put rural providers on a level playing field with their urban counterparts, then ensure that all providers are rewarded equally for their work to deliver value in health care. ACOs are made up of groups of healthcare providers that share responsibility for providing coordinated care to patients, improve healthcare quality, and reduce unnecessary spending. When ACO provides work together to improve care and lower costs below what Medicare expected to spend, Medicare saves money. The healthcare providers in the ACOs are then able to receive a share of those savings. And congratulations to our friend Todd Domer of the Kansas Livestock Association as he's hanging up his spurs. So we wish you well at retirement, Todd, and we'll see you down the trail. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer and work with you.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage. Did you know that if you're held liable in any type of accident, the judgment can claim your assets? Please give me a call so we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
And we're back in Russell, and Matthew Driscoll with Mechanized Concepts Kansas joins us. And Matthew, earlier we kind of talked about industrial hemp coming back to Kansas, and so let's dig a little bit more into who really is Mechanized Concepts, because it started before it came here to Russell.
Right. Mechanized Concepts is an engineering, manufacturing, and design firm. And what they have done is they've come into Kansas and they have seen the flatland, they've seen the farm ground for our farmers, and they saw where the problem was. Actually, it started in Colorado with harvesting of the hemp. And so that is why they brought the hemp harvester here to Russell. Well, we helped bring them here.
All right, so Mechanized Concept Kansas was formed, and it seems like as this company continues to grow here in Russell County, that Russell County was one of those that wanted to be one of the change leaders, if you will, in rural revitalization efforts, and Mechanized Concepts is one of those building blocks.
Right, and the great thing about Mechanized Concepts is they have the same values that we do here in the Heartland, and so making Russell County was a perfect fit for both of us. We both are hardworking. They love the work ethic of the Midwesterners, and it's a great fit.
What's the future? I mean, there's been a lot of stories maybe that people have heard bits and pieces of, from processing to manufacturing, and really some possible large numbers of workforce right here in the central part of the state. So what's the kind of the plan right now that we see Mechanized Concepts Kansas playing in?
Well, right now, with the help of rural revitalization, we're going to start here in Russell County with the manufacturing plant, but we are also going out and helping consult with farmers. We're helping consult with new innovators, engineers, and working with quite a few other people from around the world and businesses and entities to get this off the ground and get the United States back on track with hemp.
Don't you think that it seems that where hemp really is going to take off are places right here in Russell County and in this part of the country?
Oh yes, I see Russell County and actually western Kansas really booming from this movement.
Well, Matthew, if folks want to find out more about Mechanized Concepts Kansas, I'm sure you have a website up that kind of talks about some of the new innovations coming. How can they do that?
They can go to mechanizedconcepts-kansas.com, and we have applications online and questionnaires that they can fill out.
All right. Matthew Driscoll with Mechanized Concepts Kansas has joined us. We're in Russell. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device, news and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking AgView on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow AgView News, a reliable and relevant source, agview.net.
Ken Rahjes with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage. Did you know that if you're held liable in any type of accident, the judgment can claim your assets? Please give me a call so we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
And we are back in Russell at Mechanized Concept, Kansas, and joining us is State Representative Troy Waymaster from Bunker Hill, and he represents the area of Russell and many of the rural area here. And we've talked in previous conversation about this Mechanized Concepts Kansas coming. Let's spend a little bit of time about the legislative process and how, we've kind of talked about how we got to this point. But this first season's kind of out of the way. Have we learned some things? Are we still going to learn more of how what's going to go on in Kansas will work with a company like Mechanized Concepts Kansas?
Well, in 2017, we passed the Industrial Hemp Research Program. And that was after the 2014 Farm Bill that allowed states to go ahead and have a research program for industrial hemp. And so I was asked to serve on the Industrial Hemp Advisory Committee with the Department of Agriculture by then Secretary Jackie McClaskey. And so at first, what we were trying to do is just trying to wrap our hands around the legislation that was passed by the legislature and a lot of the things that we mimicked from the state of Kentucky when they instituted their industrial hemp program. So we're still in the learning phases right now. Actually, we're having our first harvest this fall in regards to the industrial hemp program. But we have changed that in the 2018 legislative session where we have changed that to a commercial hemp program. And so we're trying to move forward now and see exactly how we change it from an industrial hemp program to commercial hemp. And so right now we're still having the meetings with that transition from industrial hemp to commercial.
Is that a big change, or does this mean more opportunity, say, for Kansas farmers and companies like the one we're at?
There are a lot of big changes. Probably the biggest that the farmers will see, or processors or distributors, is the application process itself. When we were in the industrial hemp program, as far as our pilot research program, the application to get a license was pretty extensive. You had to basically outline what are you going to research, how are you going to quantify your data. And so we had to go through all of those applications and approve or deny based off of the information that was submitted by the particular individual. That application process is pretty much going away. You're not going to have this extensive application process. Also, the application fee and the licensing fees are being adjusted. There was no state money appropriated for the industrial hemp program, and so it's being maintained by the Department of Agriculture. So it does have to pay for itself, just like any other program with the Department of Agriculture. And so there will be an adjustment as far as the fees that one would be assessed in wanting to grow commercial hemp.
And again, I don't think you had it on your farm this year, but the season for hemp is you plant it in the spring like any other spring crop, and you harvest it around that 1st of October. Is that right?
I would probably say that the time frame is very similar to sorghum or milo. Planted in May, maybe the 1st of June, but when you get into June, you're coming to the end of the planting season, and then it's harvested around late September, October.
Good. Looking forward to hearing more about hemp in Kansas. Representative Troy Waymaster has joined us. Stay with us. We're in Mechanized Concepts, Kansas, in Russell. We'll be back with more after a bit.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families in rural Kansas for more than 100 years. We're pleased to offer new health care coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
Hi, I'm Emily Cope, and I work for the Kansas Corn Growers Association, and I'm the Eastern Kansas Representative and Market Development Coordinator. One of the other programs I work on are collegiate programs, and we are excited to begin offering again this year a lot of the programs that we did last year. One of those includes our Collegiate Academy, which is a group of about 6 to 8 students who really dive deep into the corn industry, and the whole goal is to open them up to different career opportunities in the corn industry. So we focus on things from ethanol to the livestock industry. They get to spend a day in Topeka learning about policy, as well as Washington, D.C. They spend a week there going to different sessions, meeting with industry. So they really get to see from the Corn Growers Association side what we do on the policy standpoint there. So that's Collegiate Academy. And then we also have a scholarship program, and this is open to all students in the state of Kansas to apply. And so we encourage students to apply for our $1,000 scholarship to really support their continuing education there. And then a few other programs that we have is we have a Career Connections program, and this is again to connect students who are in colleges all across the state of Kansas to different career opportunities in agriculture. So we feature a panel, normally about 2 to 3 industry professionals who are local in that area, and we want to bring them to your campus, whether it be in a classroom or a club or organization event. So we have a Career Connections event on campus at K-State. A few others scheduled for this year include Washburn Law School, as well as Pitt State University, and going out to Colby as well. So we'd love to get onto all campuses across the state of Kansas. So if you're interested, check out our website and learn more about a few of those events.
Hello, I'm Dr. Frank Lyons from Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center here in Manhattan, Kansas. Daryl was one of our patients that we did about 7 months ago.
I dug trees by hand for years and years and years. In the process, I wore out my rotator cuff. But when I learned about this process, I thought if there's a way to get rid of this pain, then I want to do it. So we did it, and it worked. I'm not going to go out and dig trees with a shovel anymore, but I can do the things that I want to do now.
Well, it's been very gratifying to help people with their painful joints and other entities, and it's been especially gratifying to be able to help people who I know and have worked with and known for many years.
Of the U.S.-Japan tariff agreement signed on October 7th in Washington, D.C. confirms that the agreement will provide imported U.S. wheat the same preferential advantage that is now given to Canadian and Australian wheat under the Comprehensive and Progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership. Japan's legislature must approve the agreement before it is implemented. According to U.S. Wheat Associates President Vince Peterson, who attended the event at the White House, as we hoped, the text confirms that the agreement will put U.S. wheat back on equal footing with wheat from Canada and Australia when it's implemented. In addition, Japan has agreed to open country-specific quotas for U.S. wheat and wheat product imports. The Trump administration and negotiators for both countries clearly understood what was at stake for U.S. wheat farmers, and it made sure to have our backs in this agreement. Since the Comprehensive and Progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement entered into force last December, market factors have kept U.S. wheat competitive. But without this new agreement, U.S. wheat imports would have become less and less cost competitive, to the point that Japan's flour millers would have no other choice than to buy more of the lower cost wheat from the CPTPP member countries. U.S. wheat represents about 50% of all wheat Japan imports each year, currently valued at more than $600 million. That volume represents more than 10% of total annual U.S. wheat exports, generally benefiting all U.S. wheat farmers, and specifically farmers from the Pacific Northwest to the northern and central plains states.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage. Did you know that if your cattle get out, you could be held liable for that? Call me, let's have a discussion. 316-945-6733.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device. News and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking AgView on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow AgView News, a reliable and relevant source, agview.net.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
The first ever Cattle Trace Industry Symposium will take place November 22nd in Manhattan at the Kansas State University Union. It will serve as a platform to share progress on the Cattle Trace pilot project, foster discussions around the future of animal disease traceability, and provide an opportunity for beef industry stakeholders to offer feedback on the current program. As one of the speakers on the agenda, USDA Undersecretary Greg Eyeball will address the current state of traceability and discuss future steps for animal disease traceback. Additionally, Andrew Moxie with Scott EID Livestock Traceability will discuss Scotland's experience using ultra-high frequency technology for cattle. The Cattle Trace team also will offer the first look at the database and conduct a mock trace demonstration. Cattle Trace was launched in June of 2018 and is being implemented by a cooperative public-private partnership, including private industry, university, and state and federal government sectors. While it started in Kansas, the program has expanded with partners in multiple states across the country. The Cattle Trace Symposium is free to attend and includes a complimentary lunch. To register or for more information, go to www.cattletrace.org.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device. News and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking AgView on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow AgView News, a reliable and relevant source, agview.net.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm, so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer and work with you.
Imagine turning soybean oil, used cooking oils, and waste animal fats into fuel so amazing it drives U.S. jobs and our economy forward. Learn more about biodiesel at americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
I'm Derek Ermish with Paragon Ag. A producer should be prepared that the next 3 to 4 months may hold some surprises that we typically don't see this time of year in the grain markets. Typically in the last several years, once we hit harvest, grain farmers looking for higher prices are essentially thrown into the pit of despair and left to wait for the inevitable time when they have to sell what they didn't have hedged or marketed in front of harvest. Harvest rallies can and do happen, but it's rarely enough to compare to what you could have had earlier in the year. This year is different. Soybean future prices have rallied back to match their summertime highs, and basis has actually improved in some areas to make the current cash bean prices some of the best you could have had all year. Corn futures prices has not rallied back nearly to the extent of the summertime highs, but it has experienced a 50-cent rally off the early September lows to bring it back to $4 at one point, a futures price we are not accustomed to seeing at harvest in the last several years. Late planting, a semi-early freeze with a snowstorm, positive rhetoric on the China trade front, and most importantly, an ending stock balance sheet for 2019 that doesn't look nearly quite as formidable as what it did just 3 months ago, has 2019's grain markets aspiring to be something more. It's too much to ask for a redo of this summer's price rally in corn, but something better than the regular post-harvest doldrum price movement we've been accustomed to in the last few years isn't out of the question. I'm Derek Ermish. Have a good day.
Thank you for joining us for Authentic Ag. If you have questions or comments, email me, kenrahjes@gmail.com. We look forward to seeing you next time on Authentic Ag.
Earlier in my life, I rode bucking horses in rodeos, and my shoulders took such a beating, and that was probably the reason for having several previous surgeries on both shoulders. About a year ago, I decided that I didn't want to have another surgery, and so I contacted Kansas Regenerative Medicine, took their treatment process. It was relatively pain-free. Now, after 8 months, my shoulders have healed to the point where I think I'm probably 90 to 95% of normal. It takes a couple of months to start to see results and feel real progress. That continued to increase gradually until now at approximately 8 months, and I'm extremely pleased. I've got full range of motion. I can lift weights, I can throw, I can do a lot of things that I couldn't do without a lot of pain previously. So I'm tickled to death with the results, and I'd recommend this process to anyone.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families in rural Kansas for more than 100 years, and we're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau health plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agamandkansas.com.